Welcome to the Ducksoft Weekly Sandbox Review. Today we'll talk about various features and fixes from the week before this one. Since the previous video, dedicated servers have received some further improvements. For now, dedicated servers are appearing in the list of lobbies for a game. You may also connect to dedicated servers using the Steam ID that you get from the status command, so there's no need to give out your IP address anymore. Camera Component now has a HUD property of type HudPainter that allows for shapes and text to be drawn to the screen in an immediate mode style. HudPainter does its rendering in the after post-process stage of the camera it came from. Gary shared a video of a crosshair that was made using HudPainter. With HudPainter, I was able to easily make a component that rendered some text and boxes on top of the screen. Using a multiply blend mode with a green, screen-sized rectangle gives a sort of night vision effect. In general, the requirements for a water material will differ greatly between games. Is the surface of the water flat, or does it have waves? Is the water opaque, or can you see through it? Will the surface reflect the nearby environment or not? And what should happen if you go under the water? If the type of water you need is shiny, opaque, and wavy when objects are moving through it, then FacePunch programmer Sam may have just the water for you. In the testbed repo, s&box scene staging, there's a test scene for water that uses a compute shader to simulate fluid physics. It's a little janky, but looks impressive when it behaves correctly. You'll still need to bring your own buoyancy simulation. So anyway, I flooded my home. I made a component that gives buoyancy to submerged objects. The water is now much more fun to play with, and I've spent a lot of time throwing around furniture with the physics tool. I plan on releasing a library that will include Sam's fluid simulator along with some of my own tweaks and additions. Over the past week, FacePunch programmer Carson has made several small fixes and improvements to FacePunch's Sprite Tools library. Now included with the library are an example sprite and some example prefabs. To record footage for this video, I used this library myself for the very first time. Using a free Kenny tile set, I created a tile map with collision. With a little bit of code and a character controller, I got the default sprites to move around and slide against the walls. In the library manager, you can find and install the Sprite Tools library yourself. The design of the Sandbox main menu has gone through another iteration. This time, a greater focus is given to featured games with the hope of de-emphasizing so-called slop. Model Renderer now has a new property named CreateAttachments that will create a game object for each attachment in the model. This is similar to how you could already create bone objects. When I tested this out, it didn't seem to work correctly, placing the attachment game objects at incorrect positions compared with what I could see in ModelDoc. I'll make an issue as soon as I'm done making this video, I promise. A Component.ITemporaryEffect interface was added, which provides an isActive method that should return false once a component has finished doing its job. For example, when a particle is finished emitting or a sound has finished playing. Some improvements were made to the search feature of the hierarchy window. Search results now include game objects that are the child of another game object. Previously, only top-level results were found. You may now use the T: prefix to search for game objects that have a component of a certain type name. Another prefix, tag: may be used to search for any game object that has the specified tag. In the past, audio would not be occluded by any collider that had the no block audio tag. This has been changed so that there is now a sound tag that you may use in the collision matrix to define which tags do or do not occlude sounds. In any first-person game, your player game object should have a tag that ignores the sound. Otherwise, any colliders on the player might muffle all sounds. It's now possible to preview a sound in the cloud browser by double-clicking it. Using the inspector, you may preview the sound at various angles and distances. A new WideMode attribute may be used with properties to allow their control widgets to appear in the inspector on a separate line from the name of the property. This frees up a lot of horizontal space in some cases. The Create Asset menu has been reorganized. Also, game resources are now categorized under folders if you specify the category in the game resource attribute. You may now drag prefab files from the asset browser and drop them into Hammer. It's also possible to copy game objects from the scene editor and paste them into Hammer. However, the reverse is not currently possible. You may not copy objects from Hammer and paste them in the scene editor. It just can't be done. A new DateTime ControlWidget has been added. When clicking on the value of a DateTime property, a calendar will pop up that allows a specific date and time to be selected. Alright, that's all for this week. Next episode, I'll cover the results of the Face Punch Hack Week that started this week. Have a nice day!